Hey, this is Tyler Basu, and thanks for watching Teach Online TV. Today, I have with me a special guest, Justin Brooke. He is the founder of a digital ad agency called I Am Scalable, and he has literally generated millions of dollars in sales for himself and his clients of different products and services online, and including online courses. So, Justin, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I'm excited to chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've phased out of I Am Scalable. The agency is all shut down. Our courses are doing too well for me to straddle both things anymore. So in May of this year, May 18th, I fired all my clients, I guess you could say, or I referred them all out for commissions. I'm no dummy. I'm still going to get paid. But I have no more clients. I'm 100% on the courses now.
Okay, cool. Because it was about 8 years back, if I'm not mistaken, that you got into AdWords, and you've since learned how to run paid ads for all these clients. So that's how you started the agency, I'm guessing. So you're now transitioning from agency just to all online courses.
Yeah, well, I actually started 11 years ago. You've done great at Googling everything, but there's a little bit of the story that Google doesn't tell.
Okay.
I started 11 years ago, and my first success was actually selling a course.
Okay.
I was selling a course, how to build Joomla websites, which Joomla is a lot like WordPress, just a different piece of software. And I was selling it for just $35. So I started out with courses, and then I had other courses about how to buy and sell websites for profit before even Flippa.com was around, which is like a website flipping marketplace. And then courses in 2010 really kind of changed a lot, because all of a sudden there was a podcast and a YouTube and a blog article about everything. Mm-hmm. And so it became a lot harder to sell courses. And it was a huge way to make money online, prior to 2010. But 2010 was kind of like an earthquake to the courses selling industry, and it's kind of come back. So when things kind of went funky for a little while there, I started up an agency. I was like, all right, well, if they're not buying the knowledge, I'll sell the service. So I was still kind of doing the same thing, just selling the service instead of the knowledge. So did that for quite a few years, did great. We made millions, had some of the greatest clients. Dan Kennedy was a client. Snuggie was a client at one point. We did really good, and now we're back to the courses thing, because it seems to be a boom time. Everybody's rushing to the internet for jobs, and everybody needs to learn how to do these jobs.
Yep. And a lot of the skills, they're not always taught in, there's not like, you can't really go and get a degree, for example, in internet marketing, because probably by the time you finish the courses in school, a few things have changed in the online world since then, right? So I think a lot of people are, as you said, they're gravitating towards online courses created by people who practice what they preach and are in the game, and they're learning from them.
There's a surprising statistic, and everybody can Google this themselves, but last year, $172 million was made off of just coding boot camps. That's not putting in all of like the Udemys and the Coursera's and the Skillshares and the Creative Lives and the Thinkifics and the Teachables. I mean, there's so many other education-based places that people are learning online. So just one segment of the online education market made $172 million last year. So it's a boom time for teachers right now.
Yeah. So Justin, can you give us a quick overview of your courses? I mean, tell us about your online school, how that's working, and then we'll jump into some of the ways that you're marketing your courses.
Yeah, so I know it sounds convenient that I am selling marketing courses, and I'm sitting here talking about marketing courses, but that happens to be my area of expertise. It's not something I started recently. I've been doing this for 11 years. I started my first Google AdWords campaign, as you heard, 8 years ago, and so as an ad agency, we realized that it was hard to hire media buyers because, like you just said, they're not coming out of college, and the best online advertisers anyway, already have their own clients. So if you're hiring, you're left with kind of the not so goods and then the mediums, and you have to kind of decipher when you're hiring somebody in the interview process. Is this one of the not so goods? Is it one of the mediums that I can train? If it is one of the mediums that I can train, how do I train them?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the marketing courses that are out there online are usually like how to make money online, or how to market a network marketer, how to do affiliate marketing, which I have no beef against that stuff. But if you're trying to build a career as a Google AdWords professional or as a Facebook ads professional, there just wasn't a whole lot of stuff. And so I was like, well, I'll just fire all my clients and I'll train them. Somebody had to do it. And I was like, well, it might as well be me. I guess I'll just have to go out there and make all the money. It's a dirty job, but no, that's why I did it. I saw my own problem is it's hard to find training, career building level training for online advertising. And so we just decided to create all of our courses around that. We've got about 8 or 9 now. We've got 4 more going up like today, and 7 more going up by the end of the year.
Wow. Okay. So you're pretty close to having, over a dozen courses to choose from here.
Yeah.
So are these, are they like all grouped into like a membership site, for example, or are you promoting and selling each course individually to different people?
We thought about doing the membership site thing, but I love the feature on Thinkific where you can let another instructor get paid. And as an advertiser myself, it's all about average customer value.
Okay.
And that's really the way you're going to be able to market your courses the best, is if you can earn more per customer than it costs you to pay for the customer, well, then you can do advertising profitably, and that's kind of the thing. And so if you're doing a membership, memberships can be easier to sell, but they can also be harder to sell because you're selling a monthly payment instead of a one-time payment. So it's a little harder. And then as standalone courses, it's easier for us because you don't have you can earn more per customer because they're buying a lot more stuff.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so what's the typical price point for most of your?
We have $49 courses, and then we have $498 courses, and we're working on getting some courses in between, in the middle, around $149.
Okay, cool. So if that low from the low price points up to the mid tier and the high ticket even.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We have free courses as well, so we get people in to a free course, and then we use email follow-up to get them on to a $49 course. We kind of escalate them up.
Got it. Okay, cool. So one thing I definitely want to jump into is how you're marketing these courses. And you recently shared a pretty inspiring story inside of Thinkific's Facebook group. They got a bunch of people excited. So I'm like, okay, I gotta get on a call with this guy and get him to elaborate a little bit, because a lot of Thinkific's customers and online course creators in general, they get into online courses because they have an area of expertise that they're able to teach. And more often than not, it has nothing to do with marketing or online marketing. So they've now got to pick up a second skill set of how do I market my course? How do I get the word out? And so for most folks who are going to watch this interview, they're going to be new to marketing online.
Right.
And so they're willing to try a bunch of different things, but it's overwhelming because we see a lot of different options. Like, what do we do? Do we do content marketing? Do we do a YouTube channel? Do we do a podcast? Do we do Facebook ads? You know what I mean? And do we go and learn all those things ourselves, or do we hire, or do we get someone to help us? But if you could maybe just give us that overview of the sales process or the sales funnel that's working well for you right now, and then we'll dig a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah. What works, it really starts with creating a customer persona. Some people call it a customer avatar, but you have to start there. Nobody wants to start there. Everybody loves to skip this part. But The customer persona allows you to know who it is that you're targeting, what their pain points are, what their interests are, where they hang out online, what their desires and their dreams are. You have to start there. Once you know that, then you know, okay, well, they're probably going to be on Facebook or they're probably going to be on Twitter. Like if I wanted to reach authors, I think it would be a lot easier to reach authors on Twitter than it would be on Facebook. Same goes for celebrities. It would be a lot easier to reach out to celebrities on Twitter than it would be on Facebook. There's the occasional, like I know Vin Diesel does really well on Facebook, and I think The Rock does well on Facebook. But if you really look at celebrities, and I'm just using them as just one market as an example, but they're mostly on Twitter. So you really have to know where your customer hangs out first to know, are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Are they on YouTube? Like if you're in the gaming space, if you're teaching people how to become better at League of Legends or better at Call of Duty, and that's like your course, then YouTube's going to be really good because there's a ton of gamers on YouTube. If you're trying to reach CEOs are probably not spending a whole lot of time watching YouTube. Yeah. There are some, but it's just everybody's everywhere, but there are pockets of places that are better than others.
Okay, got it. So that would be step one, is getting really clear on who is most likely to take your course.
Right.
And find out where they hang out online. Social media is a great place. Maybe check blogs or forums that they might be in. YouTube, as you mentioned. So what's the next step after that? We found out where these people are hanging out. What do we do? I mean, I know something that you shouldn't do is just go on spamming these groups, right? Or
yeah. No, everybody starts out doing that. They're like, or I get a lot of people, like I create a lot of Facebook ads. And so some people will come and drop a link on one of my Facebook ads, hoping that like I will pay for their promotion because they got a link on my comments. But no, I just come by and delete them and ban them. So spam, out of the question. The next thing what you want to do, and again, the customer persona sets everything else up for success. And that's why it's so important not to skip that step, because the next thing you're going to do is you're going to create some form of content, whatever is easiest. It could be video. We're doing an interview. An interview is easy for you guys to slip that into your marketing. Some people don't, some people hate to do videos. They can't stand the thought of them being on a video screen. Some people are good writers. Some people have a voice for podcasting. Whatever content medium is best for you, do that. But use your customer persona to understand what type of content you should be creating. For example, one of my best blog posts right now, I would say it's probably like the front of my sales funnel, if we would call it that. I have a blog post called 10 online ads that made millions for their founders. To my market, that's a no-brainer. That's
gold.
Yeah, that's just hanging out there. So anybody who's interested in any type of online advertising, they're going to click on that blog post, they're going to read it, and then at the end it says, by the way, I actually researched 50 of them. You're only reading the first 10. If you opt in here, I'll give you the report that has all 50, plus you can download their images, you can look at their landing pages. It's just another no-brainer. And it's a no-brainer because I know I've done the customer persona part first. Yeah. And so it just becomes like a frictionless funnel. And that's really what everybody needs to understand, is friction is the enemy. So create a frictionless funnel by understanding your persona. So that's step 2. Create content that is a no-brainer, that your market definitely wants to see.
Okay. And how could we figure that out? Like, how could we figure out what would be a hot topic, or what would be a pain point, or a question they're asking online, perhaps? How do we choose what that no-brainer piece of content should be?
Yeah, and so it's never going to be perfect, especially in the beginning when you're creating your customer persona. It's always starts out as an educated guess. Okay. So what I start out doing is like, you kind of got to start with just picking something out at random. Okay. What I like to think about is Google. I read it years ago. I forget what project it's part of, but they have this concept called the toothbrush problem.
Mhm.
The toothbrush problem is a problem so bad that you think of it twice a day, or at least we all should be thinking of it twice a day. So that's where you start, is what is a problem people have that they're thinking about often? Because if it's just a problem, like I used to have a client who sold sinus infection pills. When somebody has a sinus infection pills will fly off the shelf.
Mhm. Mhm.
Until they have that problem, they don't care.
Okay.
So it became like a targeting nightmare of like, how do you find somebody who has a sinus infection at this moment? So it's just, you need to find a problem that people are thinking about every day,
Okay.
ideally twice a day. You want them, and start there. So, okay, you found a problem people are thinking about twice a day. Who is that person? What you do, the first thing I do is I go onto Amazon and I just start reading product reviews, the negative ones. Especially like now, there's like a lot of paid for positive reviews on Amazon.
Mhm.
So I really like to read the 3-star reviews. Those are the people who are not just being nasty and leaving like just a valueless negative comment, but it's somebody who is just disappointed with the product and is usually telling why they were disappointed with the product. The threes are where all the gold is at. So read those product reviews, look at other products in the market and see if there's any blog reviews or YouTube reviews of those products. And really just start, that's how you start, just dive in, and become a part of the community, take notes, just really start consuming, what are people buying? What are they saying about the things that they're buying? What are they feeling? What's causing them to buy? And you just start getting all these educated guesses. And then as you do your marketing, you start validating whether those guesses are correct or not correct. And it becomes perfect over time.
Okay, cool. No, that's a great suggestion. And I think and that works perfect, especially if like you don't have an audience or a platform in any way yet. Like if, like you said, you're going off of these educated guesses about your market. But if for somebody who has done something to build a bit of an audience, maybe they got a Facebook group of their target market. Right. Maybe they've got a newsletter. They've got a bit of an advantage because they could ask. They could be like, "Hey guys, what are you struggling with now? I'll create some content to help you out with that."
Absolutely. Asking is the best way. I'll tell you the greatest thing I've done recently is adding live chat to my website.
Oh, okay.
I thought, I don't know what I really thought. I thought it was going to just be kind of like jewelry for my website, something kind of that everybody else was doing. But man, within 3 days, I was absolutely in love with it. You get sales from it because people type in questions about products that they want to buy, and you can in real time be getting sales. You get feedback about products. Yep. You can add it to, I add it to my courses page, the page on Thinkific where all the different courses reside, and it says, what course would you suggest us to create? So now we're getting regular suggestions for new courses. Live chat has been the best thing.
That's cool. And can you set up those live chats so that it comes to your phone? Could you get a notification on your phone if somebody?
Yeah. Oh, they do all kinds of things. It's really mature. They have mobile apps. They have them to where you can sync them right to your Slack group. That's what I do because Slack goes right to my phone and my team is on Slack. So it's just very easy for me to do it right through Slack. I never log into the thing. I just do it all right through Slack.
Okay, perfect. So Justin, going back to when you've got a piece of content created. So for example, you went and did some research. You published that blog post that you knew would be a no-brainer for your target audience. So once somebody's got that piece of content, whether it's a blog post, maybe it's a video, whatever it is, what can they do to get that content in front of their target audience? What are some ways that you're marketing that blog post once it's published?
So first thing, is share it with your social profiles. If you have any kind of social followers, that's just easy. The next thing I do is I look for any type of influencers that I think it would be good for them to share. Don't just go approaching every time I say this, people just make like a whole list of influencers and they just start spamming their link, and then they come back to me and tell me nobody shared my thing and I got blocked from everybody. You really need to think about, who would want to share this blog post, and approach them with an actual reason. Hey, I saw you shared this post the other day. I loved it. I happened to write something like it recently. If you want to share it, great. I just wanted to let you know it exists.
Okay.
Be very soft sell with it and have a good reason why. You'll sometimes get a few good shares from influencers by doing that. Then what I do is I use just small ad campaigns. I'm talking like $5, $10 a day, whatever you can afford. But what the ad campaigns allow me to do is I don't have to sit around and wait for Google to bless my site with rankings. I don't have to wait for people to share it. I can go into Facebook and I can say, I want these specific people to read this blog post. And it's almost like you can have the market, you can almost, in a way, force the market to subscribe to your blog. Because every time you write a new blog post, this market is seeing your blog post in their Facebook newsfeed, which is kind of the same thing that would happen if they were all subscribed to your fan page. So for $5 a day, you could just kind of make the whole market subscribe. Now, $5 a day isn't going to get you super, super far, but you grow as you do more, you're able to increase your budget.
Yeah.
And you want to watch how many people, when they go to the blog post, I use tools like SumoMe, and I use Thrive Themes. SumoMe has a welcome mat that pops down and tells them about a free course that they can enter. Thrive Themes, at the bottom of every blog post, it's got this thing it calls a focus area. It's just a call to action for a course relating to the blog post. So you design, I call it an environment more than a blog. You design the environment that people are coming into to convert them into where you want them to go. You lure them in with a valuable piece of content, and then you send them where you want them to go.
Okay, cool. So we're sharing this post on social media. We're sharing it with influencers in a non-spammy way. We're running ads each day to get some more traffic to that. So how do we take someone from having read our piece of content or watching our video or whatever it was, to then being introduced to our course and enrolling in our course? What are the last few pieces of the puzzle there?
It depends on how much your course is. If your course is over $500, I would say really, if your course is over $100, you probably need to generate a lead first and build up a little bit more relationship with that person. There will be a certain portion of people, there's always like 3% of the world who's ready to buy exactly what you're selling at this time. You just need to let them know that you exist. But for most people, if you're selling something over $100, the first thing you need to do is use your content and then use something called a content upgrade. Basically, it's like I did with my 10 ads post. You're reading this blog post about 10 ads that made millions, but at the end, I'm telling you, if you opt in, I can give you 50 ads that made millions. So it's just it's an upgrade to the piece of content. It's just more of the same. Some people call it a bucket offer. Giving them more of the same, they opt in for it, and now you have a lead, and then you can use a follow-up sequence to kind of build a relationship with them, show your authority, all that good stuff. But if it's under $100, your course, you can usually, that can just be the content upgrade. So I've got a blog post about, let's see, we've got one, the Beginner's Guide to Native Ads. And then at the end, it ends with, if you like this and you want to get started, we have Bulletproof Native Ads, one of our courses. It's only $50. So the $50 course becomes the content upgrade at that point.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what if it's a higher price point, like a few $100 or $500, then there's probably going to need to be a bit more interaction or a bit more time in between them reading the article and then buying the course. So that could be like more follow-up emails. I think you mentioned earlier you've done a free course and then the free course introduces them to the higher price point course. Even webinars. Have you done webinars as well to sell the higher priced ones?
I've done webinars before. They're not my favorite medium. I know you guys love them, and I'm not saying their webinars are bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not something that I like to do.
Okay.
You have to deal with registration rates and attendance rates, and then you have drop-off rates, and then finally a conversion rate. I like to just sell it straight out, and then I only have to worry about the conversion rate, and I can just work from that. So, but I also have a follow-up sequence. So if I'm selling a higher ticket course, I use a 7-part follow-up sequence. The first email is a very brief introduction. It's not about me, because when they first come in, they don't care about you at all. Yeah. They care about this thing that you are promising them for free. So you give them the thing, you make a small introduction, and then you allude to an email that's coming tomorrow, some sort of sexy story. The story should be, why you? What makes you an expert on this topic? What is your backstory that relates to this? And so for me, I tell the story of how I started with just a $60 ad budget and I turned it into 6 figures. Mm-hmm. So that's this, then, now they're starting to believe that I'm an expert. The third email, I tell them something controversial. So the third email, I'm telling them I come up with some sort of enemy. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be a thing. For me, it's SEO. SEO is the enemy. SEO is the free traffic. Google is the enemy for us. Instead of waiting for Google to bless your sites, you can just flip on a switch and start getting traffic for as little as $5 a day. So now you're starting to bond them to you. You're starting to create a bond between them. You have a common enemy together. And then email 4, 5, and 6 are content, but not just any content. It's content about the topic that you're an expert at. And what this content does is it really shows your market that you're an authority and you're credible on this topic. And then each of those would lead into buying the course. And then day 7 is a hard pitch. It's, here's why you should buy my product. Here's everything you're going to get. That's kind of the 7-part sequence that's worked for me over the years.
Cool. No, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
In terms of creating your courses, do you have any favorite equipment, tools, software, anything like that you use and that you would recommend?
Thinkific. I use Camtasia to create. I'm a PC guy, so Camtasia on Mac. I know a lot of people use ScreenFlow. I've used Camtasia for many years. I'm familiar with it, so I just stick with that. It works out pretty well for me. And so, what I do is I just create slides.
Yep.
And then the slides go over the, it's overview, planning, implementation, resources, next steps.
Okay, cool.
Framework of the course. And so we just create slides about each topic, and each of those 5 parts are a module. Just work our way through it.
Right on. Okay. And you mentioned, you've been in the online course space for a while, as far back as 10 years ago when you sold those first courses. So you've seen a lot of platforms. I'm guessing you've tested a lot of different ways to actually create and sell a course. You've ended up over here putting with your courses on Thinkific. So I'm just curious, what made you choose Thinkific over some of the other options, and what do you like most about Thinkific? It's Greg's smile. It's Greg's smile. That's why. No. I'll let him know.
No, I'll tell you, he's really done a lot. You can tell that he himself is a course creator when I look at some of the features, and I look at not just the features, because that's the thing. What I've noticed is there are kind of 2 different types of companies when it comes to software. There's the company who focuses on having a lot of features on their sales page, and then there's the company who focuses on having the right features and making sure those features really work. And that's the difference with Thinkific. Thinkific's the latter. It's not just a company that put up a feature really quickly so that they can add it to the sales page, but you guys have features that work great. They're not buggy. They're not clunky. The interface is just really tightly designed. It stores the person's credit card so that when they buy again, it's less friction. That you can tell that was added by a guy who understands how to market courses. And so that's really what drew me to here is, one, all the mobile responsiveness. Your order forms, your pages, everything works great on mobile, and that's really important. People underestimate how important it is to be able to have a mobile optimized, not just mobile responsive, but a mobile optimized checkout process. So that was huge. Saving the credit cards was huge because that allows me to sell more courses. It's not just about selling a course. It's about being able to sell more courses to people. And then the support. The support was huge. Right from the get-go, you guys were on top of everything. We're doing an interview now. You guys have 4,000 people in your Facebook group. Support is everything.
Right on. Thanks for that feedback. And I'll make sure I pass on the comment about Greg's smile. he'll think that's pretty funny. So Justin, I just want to thank you again for taking this time to chat with me and to let us learn a little bit more about how you've built your online course business, how you're marketing your courses. I really think that our community is going to get some value from this. I'd like to wrap up with one last question, and this would be for people who are still a little bit on the fence. They're not sure if they should create an online course, or if they should teach online, or maybe they're just in the very early stages of they're trying to get that first course created, but just having a little bit of a hard time with it. I would like if we could, inspire them to go down this path and to stick with it and keep at it until they succeed. So if you could just tell us what teaching online and what creating online courses has done for you. I mean, how has it impacted your life? How has it impacted your career? What are some of the main benefits to you of having jumped into this space?
If I start getting into how it's impacted my life, I might start crying on camera. It's changed my life dramatically. I mean, all my friends from before this business, they're in prison or they're dead. I had a much darker past, 15 years ago, and creating courses online really helped me. I started out with just a very small course. So now getting into all the mushy stuff, creating a course can absolutely change your life. It can give you the life of your dreams. I recently just got back from traveling for 9 months with my family. We went over to Bali, Japan, Australia, California. I got to do that with my kids. So it will change your life. And what I would really tell people is creating a course, what's it really going to hurt? It's not going to hurt anything to create a course. You're going to spend a little bit extra time. You might miss a few episodes of Homelands or whatever it is that you watch. But even if you just create a course on how to make grilled cheese, everybody's great at something. Some people know how to make grilled cheese like nobody else's business. Some people know how to fold t-shirts like nobody else's business. Some people know how to clean a house. Everybody knows something. And I'll tell you, over the 11 years, December will be 11 years that I've been creating courses now. And I have seen a guy make 6 figures in 90 days from a course about how to make fried pork rinds.
Wow.
So don't discount. One person told me, was all I know how to do is sleep. I was like, that's actually a really profitable market. So don't discount your knowledge. There's something that you know how to teach. It's really not going to cost you much. And today you have tools like Thinkific. I didn't have Thinkific 11 years ago. Are you kidding me? So now you've got these great tools. It's only going to cost you a little bit of time. You just may make some money. I don't get to this. It's a no-brainer.
So what have you got to lose? Just go for it.
Yeah, really.
Right on. Well, Justin, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing that story with us. I'm happy for you. I'm happy to see that you're doing so well and that you're impacting so many lives. You've got students from around the world. You've worked with clients from around the world. Your life has made a complete 180 from where it was before. And so I really respect that, and thank you for sharing that. If we want, where's the best place we can send people to? How can we learn more about your courses? How can we get in touch with you? Where can we direct people to?
If you Google Justin Brooke, I'm the only Justin Brooke that shows up. So that's one way that you can find my stuff.
So you do have some SEO going on.
I used to have an SEO background. All the other Justin Brooks in the world hate me. But you can go to dmbionline.com or learn.dmbionline.com to see my courses, and you can see how I've set up my sales page. You can buy stuff too, but you can also just kind of peruse around and look at how I've got things set up so you can learn for yourself.
Okay, perfect. Well, Justin, thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.
All right, thanks, man. Bye.